friends. They all gonna die.
When it comes to Mike Mignola's Hellboy, you know it's got a different fan base altogether. We've had Guillermo del Toro making 2 live-action movies based on the Dark Horse Comics character, one in 2004 and the other in 2008. Of course, die-hard fans of the franchise are still mad at the fact that del Toro never really got to finish his planned trilogy, especially given that Hellboy and Hellboy 2: The Golden Army were such huge hits. While Hellboy 3: Dark Worlds was in development in the year 2009 and del Toro was supposed to helm the project, the movie was eventually cancelled in 2017, primarily due to lack of funding, and instead, a reboot was announced. This brings us to 2019 when the 3rd live-action entry in the franchise, which was also, mind you, a reboot, was released, one that Neil Marshall directed. Initially titled Hellboy: Rise of the Blood Queen and later retitled Hellboy, Marshall's 2019 superhero flick featuring David Harbour in the titular role bombed at the box office. Well, next in the pipeline happens to be Brian Taylor's Hellboy: The Crooked Man, another new reboot currently looking at a 2024 release window, and while we're yet to see what Taylor brings to the table, we do have the first trailer in hand. But having said that, the trailer of this upcoming superhero horror film has only left fans highly confused, if not underwhelmed, and in today's video we are going to find out why fans of the franchise are bashing it. Oh, and this has us psyched up already, so without further ado, here's addressing every fan of those shaved down devil horns. Let's dive right into the video. But before we go into explanation, we have a very small request. If you enjoy our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. Your subscription is not just a small click, it's a big part of our community, and it means a lot to us. Thank you, and now let's begin.
Something haunted. Evil.
Let's explore the trailer. First off, here's a bit of context for you. The Crooked Man happens to be a 3-issue story arc, scripted by Mignola and illustrated by the late Richard Corbin. The limited series, which was published back in 2008, emphasized Hellboy's past missions for the BPRD, or in other words, the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense. The storyline has Hellboy chancing upon some witches while wandering in the Appalachian Mountains in 1958, and eventually encountering the titular Crooked Man, or should we say an 18th century miser and war profiteer, one who has come back from hell to serve as the region's resident devil. That being said, let's take a look at the first official teaser trailer for Hellboy: The Crooked Man. The opening shots of the trailer make it abundantly clear that the upcoming movie is bound to be fairly close to its source material. From the setting, one can easily make out that it looks like a period piece set in the late 1950s. We get a panoramic view of the Appalachian Mountains and a closer look at the desolate woods. This is precisely when we hear Hellboy's voiceover at the back stating, "Something in these hills, something haunted, evil. It smells like death." When a female character asks Hellboy how he knows that, Hellboy simply tells her, "Dark things call to dark things." The mystery deepens as we delve further into the trailer. A man says that he has heard tales about a certain being all his life, and most of them address the being as the Crooked Man. Well, of course, the evil mentioned earlier in the trailer makes itself known as we find a levitating woman who happens to be in some trance getting bitten by a snake that has wrapped itself all around her body. Needless to say, the trailer is packed to the brim with all kinds of creepy crawlies and supernatural horrors that end up wreaking havoc, and in due course, Hellboy is assured that all of his friends are going to die. We finally have the trailer ending with Hellboy looking at someone whom we can't see but can certainly hear, letting out a creepy, evil laugh. Well, that was undoubtedly a trailer with a folk horror quotient that is at least a 9 on 10. Regarding the tone, fans of the franchise will agree with us when we tell you it is exceptionally different from the previous Hellboy movie adaptations. Now, while this isn't exactly a bad thing, to be honest, judging by the reactions of fans, the tone of this particular trailer just does not work here, especially not for a Hellboy film. In even simpler words, fans in general hate the fact that a comic book character like Hellboy is placed right in the middle of what appears to be a folk horror flick. That's not all. The quality of the production has also raised quite a few eyebrows. At the end of the day, when it is a Hellboy movie, a certain degree of quality and production design are expected out of it, and looking at the trailer of Hellboy: The Crooked Man, somehow it is just not hitting the desired mark. One can clearly make out the constrained budget, which is reportedly to be roughly around $20 million. That being said, we're not against low-budget movies at all. In fact, we're big fans of low-budget flicks, and they can be excellent, but a Hellboy movie just does not fit into the shoes of a bargain bin budget.
How do you know that?
Dark things called dark things.
Should fans have their hopes high for Hellboy the Crooked Man? Despite all the things that have been mentioned, there is no reason why fans should not make room to hold hope in their hearts for the upcoming movie. To begin with, Hellboy the Crooked Man happens to be the very first Hellboy adaptation that Mike Mignola is closely attached to. Besides writing the screenplay for the movie, Mignola also serves as the producer. So this means Mignola finally gets to make the Hellboy film that he has always wanted to. Also, one cannot deny the fact that Mignola has invariably been very blunt about his dislike for some of the creative choices of the previous 3 adaptations. Anyway, coming back to Hellboy the Crooked Man, Mignola clearly stated that this is precisely the kind of Hellboy movie that he had always wanted to see in the first place. Furthermore, he has credited The Crooked Man as one of the best things he has ever written and is more than happy with the film's small budget. Also, in Mignola's words, the film is a lower budget kind of a story. In no way is it an origin story or a story that requires Hellboy saving the world. It is not meant to be huge, it is supposed to be a subtle, dark, rural folk horror tale. Does Hellboy the Crooked Man have a release date? While the film is supposed to have its theatrical release sometime in 2024, Hellboy the Crooked Man still does not have an exact release date. Well, there's no harm in hoping the movie manages to secure a nice release date sometime during Halloween. Cast and characters. While Jack Kelsey will be taking over the role of Hellboy, joining him in the cast is a bunch of interesting names. There's Adeline Rudolph as rookie agent Bobby Joe Song of the BPRD, joining forces with Kelsey's Hellboy. Next, we have Jefferson White in the role of Tom Farrell, St. Lucian British actor and comedian Joseph Marcel as Reverend Nathaniel Armstrong Watts, followed by Hannah Margetson in the character of Cora Fisher, Irish actress Leah McNamara as Effie Kolb, and finally Martin Basendale in double role. Basendale not only essays the titular Crooked Man, but also portrays Trevor Brune, the pioneer of the BPRD and Hellboy's foster father. The Hellboy movie that everyone wanted to see. Well, even if Hellboy the Crooked Man ends up surprising us, and remind you that there is a fair chance that it actually might, let's be honest here, this is not the Hellboy film any of the die-hard fans are psyched about. Nothing against Brian Taylor or even Jack Kelsey for that matter, but the Hellboy flick everyone wanted to see was undoubtedly Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy 3 Dark Worlds, which sadly never happened. Also, when one takes a look at Neil Marshall's Hellboy, which isn't just a reboot of the Hellboy film series, but also serves itself as the 3rd live-action entry in the franchise, David Harbour in the titular role was great, but truth be told, Harbour was the only good thing about the movie, and add to this the makeup effects. Everything else received negative reviews, and the reboot ended up simply bombing at the box office. So what we're trying to say here is that without Del Toro, Ron Perlman, and Doug Jones, Hellboy fails to make much sense. With that being said, knowing that the trio coming together on screen is pretty much next to impossible, we'll have to make peace with what we have. Marvel's verdict. Well, it would be pretty stupid and short-sighted to judge a book by its cover, again, in this case a movie by its teaser trailer. We agree that the trailer is tonally jarring, and in most cases, what we see is what we get. But let us not dismiss the fact that there have been also times when a film has turned out to be solid despite its poor marketing. So given the proper setup, the folk horror should work wonders, and the solitary fact that the upcoming flick is quite close to its source material acts like a cherry on the cake. Well, that is all for today, and with this, we've finally come to the end of this thrilling ride. So have you guys seen the trailer for Hellboy the Crooked Man? If you have, what are your thoughts about it? Also, do you think Jack Kelsey will do justice for the role? Don't hesitate to let us know what you honestly feel in the comment section down below. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Please do leave a thumbs up and stay tuned with us as we promise to come back with more exciting content. Till then, goodbye for now, and thanks for watching. Have a nice one.